We're gonna do the classic Jamaican breakfast, ackee and saltfish.
Everybody grows up eating saltfish.
Yes, so we'll start by making some dumplings. The dough here is flour, oil, a pinch of salt, baking powder, roll it up.
When I think of dumplings, I'm thinking of it being filled with meat and all of that. Not in Jamaica though.
We use dumplings as like a bread.
Okay.
It's like a fry bread.
So you remember doing this back home?
Yes.
With grandmother?
And my grandmother would make certain dishes.
Okay.
And I would complain. And she says, if you're gonna complain about my cooking, you better learn how to cook yourself. My mother was 15 years old when she had me. I was an only child. My father was also around the same age. He left Jamaica and went to England, migrated there. My mother left Jamaica and moved to the United States. I grew up with my grandmother. One of the things that I love about cooking in Jamaica, everybody cooked. And what we would do is something similar to what you would call a potluck here.
Okay.
But instead we call it running a boat. Potluck is something where everybody cooks and brings something to the event. But this, you bring whatever you had and we cook it together.
Oh, you run the boat.
You run the boat.
You always had that boy that, come on, you're bringing just rice again?
Exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. But he's gonna eat everything, you know.
Johnny bringing the rice again.
Meantime, we're gonna start with the ackee and saltfish. This is our national dish. Ackee actually comes from West Africa.
Okay.
And it's a fruit that we cook in a savory way. The saltfish is a very interesting role it plays in the Jamaican culture. Back in the days, there was not refrigeration. So they would use salt and pack meats with salt to preserve it.
What is this made out of usually?
It's just cod. It's codfish. So I'm going to add a little bit of tomatoes. We're going to add some of the ackee to it. So it's going to start looking a little bit like scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
So the seasoning here is salt, allspice, which in Jamaica is pimento, that's the berries, garlic, and some paprika.
It smells very Filipino to me, Chef. With the garlic and onions.
Yeah.
You know, Jamaican food, as it tastes it, people associate with island life. What is this step taking it into, you know, fine dining?
If you have amazing food, why shouldn't it be shared in different social economic settings and backgrounds? If you're a certain class and live in a certain area, maybe you never had it. One of the things I love about Jamaican food is that everybody eats the same thing, from the prime minister down to the little guy on the street. You know, if you look in our dining room, it's packed with people from all different backgrounds, and they're eating the same food as a working person in Jamaica eats. And I think that's beautiful.
The dumplings, which is like a flatbread.
Fried dumplings.
That saltfish like that reminds me of Filipino foods.
Yeah, and then you have the spices coming through.
Well, what's the evolution of Kingston 11 to Kaya as far as the food goes?
There is a tight bond in terms of what we're doing there and what we're doing here. The recipe is the same. The jerk chicken, the oxtail, same recipes. Over here, we add a few new items, such as the black pepper crab. We want to make sure that we stay true to the original intent, and the presentation is part of that. This is Dungeness crab, ginger, sweet soy sauce, lots of black pepper.
Do you encourage everyone to kind of just dig
Just
into
dip in, like we're in our backyard eating crab. We want to get our hands dirty on this dish right here.
The spices balance perfect with that sweetness of the soy.
Yes.
You get the ginger in the background of it.
And the Thai chili pepper with the little kick there.
Yeah. It's the perfect amount of heat that makes you sit up, but makes you go right back in for another bite.
Oh, I love it. So what I find myself doing in Open, people who are not as experienced, give them the chance, if they show the level of commitment, to be trained and create the next wave of servers, bartenders, line cooks, and potential sous chefs and head cooks. And that's what it means to be a black chef and a black owner, is to keep opening that door for other folks.
Yeah, all my workers are kids of the community that are afraid to a lot of times just speak up to you. I think they're raised to be so humble, and I love being an example for those guys that, no, you can get out there and put your head down and work. Yeah, the high level in which you are working and operating, it's a major inspiration for, you know, folks in your community. Coming into San Francisco and know recent history
the migration of a lot of the black community out leaving San Francisco. I would expand that to say Latinos, Asian, Americans, or even white folks of not high economic means. They cannot make ends meet here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I think we can act locally and start putting things back together.